Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Imagine having to choose, really choose, between the people who gave you life and the mind that saved it.
Wow, that's quite the thought.
It is, isn't it? And that gut-wrenching conflict, that's really the engine driving the incredible memoir we're diving into today.
We're talking about Tara Westover's Educated, right? Published back in 2018.
Exactly. Educated. It's her story, growing up the youngest of 7 kids in just radical isolation on Bucks Peak, Idaho.
No birth certificate, no school, no doctors.
None of it. Raised by this survivalist father, totally off the grid. But somehow she teaches herself enough math, algebra, trigonometry.
Yeah, enough to ace the ACT and get into Brigham Young University at 17. Her first time ever in a classroom.
And it doesn't stop there. She goes on to get a PhD from Cambridge. It's this astonishing journey of self-creation.
The one that came at a huge cost,
Yeah.
right? That painful break from her family.
Absolutely. Now, what really makes this memoir stand out, I think, beyond just the incredible story, it's Westover's intellectual honesty. You mentioned she got a PhD.
Right, she's a historian.
Yeah.
And she applies that discipline to her own life story. It's fascinating.
Oh, so?
Well, she's upfront about memory being tricky. She talks about the carousel of contradiction in her family stories, and she actually uses footnotes sometimes to, show where her siblings remember things differently. It gives it this rigor.
That's really powerful. So it's not just her truth, but an attempt to grapple with all the truths.
Precisely. And that ties into what you could call the book's core idea about education itself.
Which isn't just about classrooms and degrees, in her view.
Not at all. For Westover, true education is this continuing reconstruction of experience. It's about building your own mind, forging your own identity, not just, collecting facts.
A much deeper and frankly more painful process.
Definitely painful. And, while the book got massive praise, not everyone reacted the same way. There was some criticism.
Not like what?
Some critics found her voice maybe a bit flimsy, or they found her self-doubt, her going back to the family even after the abuse. They found it kind of grating.
I can see how maybe someone might feel that impatience reading it.
But I think, and maybe this is the key, those critics might have missed the sheer psychological complexity she was depicting. That's the reality of a trauma bond. It's messy, it's frustrating, but it's real. Breaking free isn't usually clean or easy.
That makes sense. It's an honest portrayal, not necessarily a neat one. Okay, so let's really dig into that background. Bucks Peak. What was it like? Paint us a picture.
Okay, so Bucks Peak. It's defined by this intense, radical isolation. And this is driven entirely by her father, Gene. He's this charismatic but deeply paranoid figure, a survivalist, fiercely anti-government.
Where did that come from?
A lot of it seemed crystallized by events like Ruby Ridge in '92. He truly believed the feds were coming, that the days of Abomination were imminent.
So constant preparation for the end times.
Constant. Which meant the family had to be completely self-sufficient, rejecting all outside institutions.
And that rejection had terrifying consequences, especially when it came to safety and health.
Oh, absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
The kids worked in the family scrapyard. We're talking heavy, dangerous machinery with zero protective gear.
Zero. Like no gloves, no goggles, nothing.
Nothing. And the injuries piled up. Things that would send anyone else straight to an ER.
Give us some examples. The source material is pretty graphic.
Yeah, it really was. Her brother Luke got third-degree burns when his leg caught fire from gasoline. Just horrible.
And Tara herself.
She fell into this massive scrap bin, and a piece of iron impaled her leg. Just went right through.
Oh my God, and no hospital.
No hospital. No doctors. Ever. Their mother, Faye, treated everything with herbal remedies and tinctures. Concussions, broken bones, those horrific burns, all treated at home.
It's hard to even imagine. And wasn't there more? Like car accidents?
2 major ones, both caused by the father's recklessness, his pushing limits. One of them gave her mother a severe, permanent brain injury.
So constant physical danger, but also the psychological environment must have been just as damaging.
Absolutely. You had the father's intense control, this ideological pressure cooker, and then layered on top of that was the escalating violence from her older brother, Sean.
He's a major figure in the book, isn't he? The antagonist, really.
Very much so. He was incredibly abusive towards Tara, physically and psychologically, choking her, manipulating her, making her doubt her own sanity. It's brutal to read.
And amidst all that, this physical danger, the psychological abuse, she's secretly trying to study for the ACT. How?
It really speaks to this desperate need for escape, doesn't it? Like education was the only possible way out.
So what was the catalyst? What made her think leaving was even an option?
It started with an older brother, Tyler. He was different from the others. Quieter, more academic.
Ah, the outlier.
Exactly. He defied their father and actually left for college. And that planted a seed for Tara. Just the idea that it was possible.
And he helped her, right?
He was her champion. He mailed her textbooks, coached her through the math she needed for the ACT, encouraged her to keep going, all in secret.
And somehow it worked. She gets into BYU at 17, steps into a classroom for the very first time. The culture shock, I can't even fathom it.
Like landing on Mars, probably. She describes these moments of just a profound ignorance about things we take for granted.
Is that where the Holocaust story comes in?
Yes. That's the most stunning example. She's in a history class, the professor mentions the Holocaust, and Tara raises her hand and asks what it is.
Wow.
Yeah, just silence in the room. People thought she was being provocative, maybe anti-Semitic, but she genuinely had never heard the word.
That moment must have just shattered her reality, realizing the sheer scale of what she didn't know.
Completely. She learned about the civil rights movement in that same class. It was like her entire world cracking open.
But clearly, she had the intellectual horsepower. She thrived academically, didn't she? Ended up at Cambridge, Harvard.
She did. And that phase, especially Cambridge, under mentors like Professor Steinberg, that was like a second education.
How so? What was different?
It wasn't just about learning facts anymore. It was about learning how to think critically, how to analyze history, weigh evidence, trust her own interpretations.
Learning to trust her own mind, basically, after a lifetime of being told not to.
Exactly. It was about solidifying this new identity as a scholar, as someone whose perspective mattered, separate from her family's dogma.
And this connects back to the idea of language, right? Finding the words for her experience.
Yes, that was absolutely crucial. Her academic journey gave her the vocabulary she needed to understand and narrate her own life.
Like specific terms.
Like bipolar disorder. Suddenly, her father's erratic behavior wasn't just God's will or him being eccentric. It looked like a recognizable pattern of mental illness.
And terms for the abuse.
Terms like abuse itself or gaslighting, these words were tools. They allowed her to reframe Sean's violence, her parents' denial, not as just bad luck or her own fault, but as specific, identifiable forms of harm.
So the words literally helped her reclaim her own story.
They were the architecture of her liberation, yeah. She could finally name it, understand it, and ultimately begin to heal from it.
Incredible. Now, before we get into the really tough part, the final break and the book's aftermath, let's just pause for a second. If you're finding this deep dive valuable, if Tara Westover's story resonates with you, please do take a moment to like and subscribe.
Yeah, it genuinely helps us keep making the show, improve things, bring you more deep dives like this.
And if you're inspired to read, educated, and honestly, you should be. You can find an Amazon affiliate link in the description below. Using that link is another great way to support the show.
Okay, so the ending, or maybe not the ending, but the culmination within the book, the choice she had to make.
Right. It all comes to a head, doesn't it? It stops being just her internal struggle.
It does. A key moment is when her sister Audrey initially seems to corroborate some of the abuse Tara experienced from Sean.
Okay, so maybe some validation there.
Briefly, but then things shift. When Tara confronts her parents directly, armed with this, they essentially circle the wagons. They deny everything.
And they put her to a choice.
An absolute ultimatum. Recant your accusations, submit to our version of reality, accept our authority, or you're out. Permanently estranged.
And she chose herself, her reality.
She chose estrangement, a devastating choice, but framed in the book as necessary for her survival, for loyalty to her own mind over forced family loyalty.
It's just tragic, but there's another layer to this, isn't there, regarding her father?
Yes, and it's important. The book strongly suggests, through described behaviors and patterns, that her father likely suffered from undiagnosed bipolar disorder.
Which doesn't excuse the harm, obviously.
Not at all, but it adds this layer of tragic complexity. It forces you to see him not just as a villain, but potentially as someone also suffering, trapped by his own mind.
His illness fueling the dogma and paranoia that hurt everyone.
Precisely. A victim who created victims. It complicates how we judge him.
And the story didn't end when the book was published. The family responded.
Oh, they responded very publicly.
Yeah.
In 2020, her mother, Tara Westover, published her own book.
Called Educating, right? A direct counter-narrative.
Exactly. It presented this completely sanitized, almost idyllic picture of their family life. Vehemently denied any abuse, any neglect.
Wow. So the conflict literally spilled out into the public sphere.
Many people saw it as a continuation of the very gaslighting Tara described. a public attempt to invalidate her experience all over again.
It's chilling, really. Did any other family members weigh in?
Yes, significantly. Her brother Tyler, the one who first encouraged her to lead, he did speak out.
And what did he say? Did he support Tara?
He essentially validated her core claims. He said something like, there is no doubt there was abuse, neglect, and other awful choices. So, crucial support for Tara's account.
But maybe with some nuance.
Yeah, he also offered a perhaps more complex view of their father's feelings about education, suggesting it wasn't entirely black and white. But the core validation of abuse and neglect was there.
So the public is left with Tara's meticulous account, her mother's complete denial, and Tyler's confirmation of the abuse. A contested history.
A contested history, absolutely. Which brings us back to Westover's own goal in writing the book.
Which wasn't about revenge, it seems.
No. She said her goal was, and I'm paraphrasing slightly here, to see and experience more truths than those given to me by my father, and to use those truths to construct my own mind.
A powerful mission statement for a powerful book. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Educated.
It's such a compelling story.
It really is. And honestly, our discussion here is just scratching the surface. The book itself is packed with so much detail, so many nuances. It's definitely worth reading.
Absolutely. Pick it up if you haven't.
If you have read it, we'd love to hear from you. What were your favorite moments? What stuck with you? Let us know in the comments. Share your thoughts.
Yeah, we love hearing from you.
And as you think about Tara Westover's incredible and often harrowing journey, we want to leave you with a few questions to kind of chew on. First, what does it actually mean to be educated? Is it just degrees in classrooms? Or is it more like Westover suggests this painful ongoing process of building your own mind? Can you be highly schooled yet poorly educated?
That's a good one. What was the most transformative part of your own education, thinking beyond just school?
Second question. That conflict between loyalty to family and loyalty to yourself. When those clash, what do you choose? Tara's choice to leave, was that courage? Or just a tragic necessity for survival? Have you ever faced a similar, maybe less extreme conflict?
It's a dilemma many people face in different ways.
And finally, how should we think about people like Tara's father? Knowing he likely suffered from undiagnosed bipolar disorder, does that change how we view his actions? How much can we hold someone accountable for harm they cause when their own mind might be betraying them?
Yeah, that accountability question, especially with mental illness, is incredibly complex. No easy answers there.
Definitely not. Lots to think about. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.